Who can relate to being in that space of you're in the unknown, you're kind of in the void, you're not the person that you used to be, like you're stepping out of that, you're not doing the same things, you're not really interested in the same things, you know that you're not that same version of yourself that you used to be. But at the same time, you're not fully yet in the new version of yourself. You're still not fully integrated into who you're becoming. So you're kind of in this middle ground. You're just fully in the unknown. Don't really know what's next. Don't really know what that next version of yourself really truly maybe feels like, looks like, how they act. That's how I feel right now. I am fully in my in between era. And this isn't to say that this is a bad thing, because I actually think this time of feeling maybe a little bit lost, that's a word I've been using a lot lately, feeling a little bit like what's next? Who am I becoming? What's important to me? Where do my values lie? I think that the reason why so many of us resist this middle part, where in reality it's actually so normal to be in this space, we resist it because society as a whole, like all of our conditionings, from every angle that we've ever gotten conditioned, really wants to put us in a box when you think about it. Like, we are not really allowed to evolve. We're not allowed to change our mind. We're not allowed to change. And it's no wonder why so many of us still live by the notion of thinking we have to have the same job for our whole entire lives. We have to do the same things day in and day out because it works. We have to follow a certain set of routines and habits and rules and basically live by that. And to evolve out of that, for a lot of people, we've been also told that that's failing. Like, if we leave our job, if we change our mind, even if we have a breakup or a divorce, like, not that I'm saying that's what we should strive for, but even when those things happen, like, those things could be in certain lights, as long as you know it's not toxic and traumatic, those things could be celebrated because it's you stepping into your highest timeline, whatever that looks like. And being in that in between, which is where I'm at right now, and I'm sure a lot of you listening can relate to feeling like, what's next? I know that I don't want to be who I was, or be doing the same things that I was doing, or be operating on the same level that I was operating on for so many years. And so now we're kind of in this middle ground where we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. We're learning about ourselves. We're going through self discovery. We're in this trial and error period. And how I'm trying to see it, whereas before it was so freaking scary, and it can be scary. It's scary and it's hard and it's weird and it's uncomfortable because it's the unknown. Like, you've never been this version of yourself. So, of course, it's going to feel weird and scary. It's the unfamiliar. We're not used to this. But how I've started to view it is actually this middle ground, or this transition period, is actually really, really empowering because we are choosing to rewrite things. We're choosing what story we actually want to live by. We're choosing what matters to us and how we want our life to feel. And for the longest time, I did this too, but I think for a lot of us, we live from the outside in, where we care more, and this is our conditioning again, we care more about how our life looks as opposed to how it actually feels. And I really truly believe that this is where a lot of us, we get caught up in things that don't actually matter. We get caught up in the materialistic stuff. We get caught up in showing off for other people, like, oh, what are other people going to think about my clothes or my car or my house or how everything looks. I can't be messy. I need to have it all together. I need to have my life figured out. I need to, be successful. I have to have the job title, right? Like, this is not news. This is very Western society. So when we're living from that way, of course we're going to feel unfulfilled. Of course we're going to feel drained and exhausted and unappreciated. And maybe we find ourselves in relationships that aren't really aligned and in jobs that aren't really aligned. And it's no wonder we are so sucked out. Like the life is just sucked out of us. And when I was living in Mexico and I came back to Canada, I saw this so clear as day because it's almost like, especially in Canadian and I would want to say like American society, like a lot of us are walking around asleep because we've been put into boxes and then we start to identify with those boxes. And then we think there's something wrong with us when we want to move out of those boxes, right? Like it's exactly what has happened to me and was happening to me. I put myself in a box. Although I am living, I would say, a little bit more of an unconventional lifestyle, traveling and owning my own business, I still put myself into a box of this is what I can talk about. This is who I help. This is what I do. This is my story. This is how I tell people about who I am, even. I put myself into a box for so long that when I was starting to feel burnt out and drained and unfulfilled, I was like, what's wrong with me? Until I finally realized that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just a human being who is designed to evolve and change and grow. And I'm allowed to change my mind about the things that I want to do and the things that I want to talk about and the things that I want to help people with and how I want to live my life. Right? So, in that same breath, when we find ourselves in this period of, I'm so lost, I'm so confused, I don't know what's next, I don't know myself, I'm stepping into the unknown, this is a time to be celebrated because it means you have stepped far enough away from what you're used to and what you're unhappy with to see the possibilities that are waiting for you. And it might take time, of course, but it's about allowing whatever the universe wants to bring in for you and the timing of it, because there's always divine timing. Nothing that's meant for you will ever miss you. Allowing those things to fully provide and support you. This is a tough one. This is the part of it that I struggled with for a really long time. And it wasn't until I fully let go and trusted and just surrendered that I finally stopped my own suffering to a degree, because all of my resistance, all of my fear, all of my self-doubt, all of my, oh, I should just go back to my box, I should just keep doing the same things, I should not, question why I feel so freaking miserable and depressed, all of that not only subsided, but it showed me why those things were coming up, because I realized, okay, I am in this in between space because I can't operate from those same levels anymore. I'm not happy. It's not fulfilling for me. And I'm a multifaceted human who is literally designed to evolve. We're all designed to evolve. And I think this is one of the detriments of, for example, in our day and age with social media, of you hear it all the time, like niche down, pick a niche. You can only talk about one thing. You have to be an expert in one thing. And I just think that is putting this lid on all of our potential, on all of our interests, on all the things that we genuinely maybe want to share or talk about. And this isn't just in the realm of social media, it happens in real life too. Let's say someone is a lawyer and they own a house and they have a dog. If that becomes your whole identity and you never feel like you can step out of that, maybe you actually don't like being a lawyer. Maybe you want to travel with your dog. I'm not saying get rid of the dog, but there are so many things that we don't allow ourselves to do, either because we fear other people judging us, we fear, oh, what if people think I'm a failure? What if it all crashes down on me? What if I made a mistake? What if it's not the right decision? But I would so much rather get to the end of my life and see, I'm so thankful I took that risk, or I'm so thankful I followed my intuition, or I'm so thankful that I listened to that nudge that told me something isn't quite right. This is exactly what happened to me when I was living in Tulum for a year and a half. And on the outside, on paper, it was perfect. I lived in paradise. I had a partner. We had a beautiful apartment. I was working from my laptop. And it was everything I thought I wanted. At one point, that was exactly the life I had manifested. Like, I manifested that. I created that. And it was really, really beautiful. But over time, my body was trying to tell me for a really long time, actually, that that wasn't right anymore. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I felt very stuck. I felt just like disoriented all the time. I was really depressed. I was crying a lot. I felt like this isn't me anymore. And it took me a long time, but when I finally gave myself permission to change my mind and grow and, leave, and although it was really hard, I got my spark back because I let myself change and evolve and grow. And so if you're in this middle part, if you're in this like transitionary period where you're not fully who you're about to be, but you're not quite that old version of yourself, give yourself space to just exist right now. Give yourself time to be with yourself, slow down, go inwards, because the more we try and rush, either we're rushing to get to that next part, or we're rushing to figure it out or have all the answers, or maybe we're feeling the fear to go backwards and go back to what we were doing and just go where it's easy. If we do that, we aren't fully appreciating not only the present moment, but who we are in this moment. Because even if you feel like you're in this middle transitionary ground, like this is who you're meant to be right now. You're not actually lost. You're not actually stuck. There's nothing wrong with you. This is the version of yourself that you need to be in order to evolve and step into your highest timeline. Because all there ever is right now. You actually have nowhere to go. You have no one to be. You have nowhere to go. You can just be here in this moment, and this is actually your exact purpose. And learning that in my own journey has given me so much relief. It's given me so many synchronistic opportunities because I'm no longer forcing anything. I'm letting it come to me. It gets to be easy, it gets to be abundant, it gets to be flowy. And when we can flip it on its head and start to see it for what it is a really empowering experience. It doesn't have to be scary or hard or like there's something wrong with you, or like you're the only one going through this. What if this transitionary period of you figuring it out, of you changing, of you evolving, of you getting to know yourself again, what if this gets to be really empowering? What if this is where you find the key that unlocks it all? And what if this is exactly where you're meant to be? It is. Just FYI, it is. But all of our suffering is usually all created up here. It's you believing and thinking that you are not where you're meant to be or supposed to be, or there's something you're missing, or there's something you could be doing or changing. Just be here. Be here and exist and trust and let it flow. And I promise you, you're going to be just fine. It always ends up being fine. You got this. Trust.